We'll call this meeting to order of the City Council. It's August 20th. I've asked Councilman Welling to lead us in the pledge if you'd like to join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome to all of you. We need to start with a roll call. Ms. Harris, will you help us with that?
Sure. Everyone is present, and we do have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you. We have the council minutes for August 6th.
Forgot the agenda, Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I marked that off and I moved right past it. Thank you. We have an agenda before us. Is there any changes to that agenda that we need to consider? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Go ahead.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Perks, Mr. Welling seconding. Thank you, Mr. Harris, for reminding me of that. Now we have the council minutes for August 6th. Any questions, comments, concerns about those? If not, we will acknowledge those as they've been prepared and go to the bills. Got a warrant register with today's date on it. Any questions on the bills? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Welling. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Lynn seconding. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That is approved. We'll go to the revenue and expenditure report for June 2024. Any questions, comments, concerns there? I'll entertain a motion to approve that report.
No, I'll make that motion.
Mr. Perks.
I'll second.
Mr. Welling seconding. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved there. Council comments. Mr. Lynch, what do you have for us tonight, sir?
Tonight, just representing the people in District 1 in the city of Evanston, Wyoming. Let the record show my comments are reflected in the statement being read this date, August 20th, 2024, by fellow council member Lind.
First, I'd like to say, hey, the kids are going back to school, and make sure when you're driving around, be cautious of little ones, because I got a little one walking around. I would like to make this statement. I'd like to put it on the record, not just council comments. I'd like to put this statement on the record, so you have to bear with me. Just as much as every citizen in this city has a voice, I believe I have a voice, and I have a voice that represents Ward 2. So, bear with me. Let the record reflect the improper adjournment by the Mayor Kent Williams of the City Council meeting of August 6, 2024. Was in direct breach of procedure and in violation of the Declaration of Independence of the United States of America, Amendment 1 of the Bill of Rights, and Article 1, Section 1, 3, and 7 of the Constitution of the State of Wyoming. Official meetings allow redress of comments and grievances and must be adjourned by a vote of attending council members. Failure to do so infringes freedom of speech, the power inherent in the people that all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their peace, safety, and happiness, and the use of absolute arbitrary power over the lives, liberty, and property of free men denies voter representation by the officials they elected. The meeting held August 6 should be held null and void, and all proceedings voted on that date should be stricken. Failure to do so violates the very cornerstone of our government and our democracy. Amendment 1 in the Bill of Rights guarantees every citizen of these United States the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances and prohibits the exercise of abridging the freedom of speech or the press. Article 1, Section 1 of the Declaration of Rights of the Constitution of the State of Wyoming declares all powers inherent in the people and all free governments are founded on their authority, and the institution instituted for their peace, safety, and happiness. For the advancement of these ends, they have all, at all times, an inalienable and indefeasible right to alter, reform, or abolish the government in such manner as they think proper. Section 3 declares, since equality in the enjoyment of natural and civil rights is only made sure through political equality, the laws of this state affecting the political rights and privileges of its citizens shall be without distinction of race, color, sex, or any circumstance or condition whatsoever other than individual incompetency or unworthiness duly asserted by a court of competent jurisdiction. Section 7 declares no absolute arbitrary power over the lives, liberty, and property of free men exists nowhere in a republic, not even in the largest majority. As elected officials, we are bound by the oath each of us have sworn upon entering office to uphold the Constitution of the State of Wyoming and the Constitution of the United States. We are all public servants that represent the collective voices of the people we were elected to represent. Denying the citizenry, or us, our inalienable rights to free speech denies voter representation, the enjoyment of natural and civil rights, and the action of absolute and arbitrary power, strips the power inherent in the people and all free governments that are founded on their authority. Furthermore, we are humbled to serve and speak on behalf of the people we represent. We will revere and obey the city's laws and the Constitution of both Wyoming and the land. We will fight for the ideals of these sacred things, both alone and with many, and we will strive unceasingly to uphold the rights of our citizens in all ways and protect them from any act of dishonesty or cowardice that violates their civil liberties. Due to the mayor's actions and violations of procedures and his blatant disregard for uphold of the basic rights granted to the citizens of Evanston by the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming, documented by public record during the City Council meeting of August 6, 2024, we motion for a vote of no confidence against the mayor of Evanston. Thank you.
Mr. Perkins.
After that, I have nothing, because I didn't know that was going to take place, so I have nothing.
Mr. Welling.
Aye.
Sellers.
I'm Mike Sellers. I'm representing the people of Ward 2 of Evanston, Wyoming. Let the record show that my comments are reflected in Mr. Lynn's statement. Thank you.
I'm Councilmember Jen Hageman, representing the people of District 1 in the city of Evanston, Wyoming. Let the record show my comments are reflected in the statement read this date, August 20th, 2024, by fellow Council Member Lind.
Mr. Harris, is there something we need to do to move on that, or is that just, we just move on?
Move on.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have no public hearings or special orders. I have no comments at this point. We have no consent agenda. We'll go to our unfinished business, and we'll start there with Ordinance 2406. Mr. Harris, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance 2406 is an ordinance approving and authorizing the final plat for the Ridgecrest 6 Edition located in the city of Evanston, Wyoming, being more particularly described herein. This is on third and final reading.
Jacobson.
Everyone hear me? Yep. Okay. Let me forward to Ridgecrest 6 edition for those who may not be familiar that are here this evening. It's adjacent to the Ridgecrest First Edition subdivision, just east of Otley Park. It's showing in the red shaded area on this map. So there is a 4-lot subdivision that we have reviewed in the last, for reading, the first reading, second reading. Nothing has changed with the proposed subdivision. Lots remain the same size. Proposed easements shown on the plat have not changed. So City Attorney Harris, he's completed a final draft of the subdivision agreement that has been provided to Yellow Creek Ranch Company. Yellow Creek Ranch Company is in the process right now of attaining a letter of credit in the amount of 150% of the cost of the improvements for the subdivision. So that should be coming through shortly. From what I understand, presently today we do not have a signed agreement yet, but I don't believe there's any problems, issues with the agreement as it's been drafted. There is a 11% cash in lieu requirement with the major subdivision, and that has been satisfied with the transfer of a easement for a water transmission line within this general neighborhood. So that is all I have to report with this subdivision.
And without that letter, are we okay to move forward with that?
We are, Mr. Mayor.
We have a sponsor. This is the third reading. I'll entertain a motion to approve. I'm sorry.
I was just going
I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2406 on third and final reading.
I'll introduce to approve on the third and final reading.
Mr. Sellers, I guess that's a motion.
I'll second it, Your Honor.
Mr. Perks, seconding. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pexton. We'll go on to our new business, and we'll start there with ordinance 2407. Mr. Harris, I assume you'll explain that to us, what we're doing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance 2407 is an ordinance of the City of Evanston, Wyoming, amending provisions of Article 3, Regulations and Restrictions of Chapter 11 of the Code of the City of Evanston, Wyoming, relating to ponds and pawn shops, providing for adoption of provisions of Wyoming statutes regulating pawn finance charges and maturities. This ordinance is sponsored by Council Member Lynch.
Please, would you explain to us what we're
I certainly would, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, the provisions of this ordinance were brought to me by Mr. Jeffrey Smith, who I believe is the owner-operator of our only remaining pawn shop. I think we just have one. He was reviewing the code in Chapter 11 and noticed some differences in the code relating to pawn finance charges and maturities, those two specific issues that were not mirrored and not provided for in the Wyoming statutes. Our pawn shop code was adopted in 1982. The Wyoming statutes relating to pawns and pawn shop were adopted in 1983. In that enactment, the Wyoming legislature preempted cities and towns from regulating pawn finance charges and maturities. Our ordinance was at odds with the 1983 or version of that statute that had been amended throughout the years. So this ordinance, Mr. Smith brought this to my attention, this ordinance incorporates the terms of the Wyoming statutes into Section 1137 of our code and sets forth the Wyoming statutes verbatim relating to finance charges and maturities. And Mr. Smith called me today. I understand he had a conversation maybe with Councilmember Lynch. He said he would like to have been here tonight. He was unable to attend. I told him he could certainly come in 2 weeks or 4 weeks on second or third reading.
So what we're doing here, in essence, is just bringing our ordinances in line with state statute.
In those two areas, that's correct, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions for Mr. Harris before we?
So we basically eliminated a bunch of stuff in our ordinance to match up the states?
Correct.
I'll just make, Mr. Harris, I appreciated the email with all the read out and all this. When you read through it, it really helped make sense, so thank you.
And I also, Mr. Mayor, I also forgot to mention that he has met with Chief Ranish, too.
Excellent.
So, and I provided a copy of this to the chief, so he's aware of that.
We have a sponsor on this ordinance. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2407 on first reading.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Lind motioning with second. Anybody, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Sellers seconding. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there any opposed? That's approved on first reading. Resolution 2458. Mr. Harris, you read that title for us, please.
Resolution 2458, Mr. Mayor, is a resolution of the City of Evanston, Wyoming, authorizing the execution of a joint funding agreement with the United States Geological Survey, United States Department of the Interior, for the operation and maintenance of a stream gauge station on the Bear River.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Robinson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is our annual agreement with USGS just for funding of the stream gauge that's on the river over here by the recycle center. We help fund that and gather the data on it. It's a station we use for flood monitoring and river flows and that kind of stuff. So it's just an agreement we have with them to run it.
The same agreement we do year
It
after
is,
year
yep.
after year, is it not? That's what it looked like to me. Is there an introduction on this resolution?
I'll introduce the motion, pass.
Dwelling with the motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Lynch?
Yes.
Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? That's approved. Comments from departments? Mr. Robinson, do you have anything more for us tonight while you're standing right there?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Mr. Newsom, anything for us? Larson?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Mr. Lynn? Mr. Jacobs, anything more? Ms. Harris, do you have anything
No,
for us?
Your Honor.
Mr. Harris?
Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
Public participation. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to address the council for any reason? Please come up, sir.
Hello, my name's Bradley John Mills. Everybody hear me? Good. First, a lot of drama going on. I would first like to thank the city of Evanston for the beautiful roads up by my house that we're building and I now have on Aspen. Appreciate it. Safety and beating the cars and all that means a lot. Briefly, I would like to comment my appreciation to this board for letting me read my letters in a public forum. I more than value my First Amendment right. As I have explained before I read my letters and content of my letters, if you recall, I have been denied my First Amendment right by the Uinta Commie Herald, and I have been blessed to be able to speak at your forum. The school board, more than generous to hear me with no problems, and I value that. I think the county commissioners have since resolved their First Amendment issue, and I look forward to speaking there in basically my editorial that I'm denied access to publication. Or if it is published, it is altered or don't make sense. As far as the situation we have here, and it's us, it ain't just the mayor or this committee. We swear an oath, we break it, we know what to do. Leadership is serving others, not ourselves. And if you seek truth and serve others, it'll all fall into place for you. And I wish everybody luck, and sorry to see the upheaval. but I think it can be healed, and accurate reporting of facts is essential to maintain that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council for any reason? Mr. Harris, maybe I can put you on the spot here for a second. Is there a protocol? Do I need a motion to adjourn this meeting, or do I have the authority to adjourn it?
Mr. Mayor, the Roberts Rules of Order provides that if the agenda has been completed with the call for any further public participation, the chair can adjourn the meeting.
So I do not need a motion then?
That is correct.
Thank you, sir. If there's no other comments, we will adjourn.